Hello, hello, hello. Give me 1 second just to make sure everything is on correctly. And then we'll get going. I don't want to start going and then my mic isn't working. Actually, that happened last week. My mic wasn't working and I am glad I checked at the beginning. But give me just 1 second and then we'll get started. Perfect. All right. I started doing this live stream several several months ago now, and it's gone really well. I'm going to turn this down actually a little bit. I don't want it to peak out too much. But I started doing this live stream about 2 months ago, every single week, mostly because I was getting so many questions through email and through LinkedIn and through Instagram, and I've had a tough time keeping up just to answer questions. And so I started doing this live stream. I'm doing it for you guys so that I can answer your questions and it can hopefully be really helpful. Real quick, I see people in the chat. There's my wife. Hey, Christine. She's downstairs. Thanks for joining. You don't have to, but I appreciate, it's a bump in the numbers. So I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, Sharu, MSV. Let's see. Terry, good morning. How this goes is actually really simple. For like 50 minutes, 55 minutes, I just answer your questions in the chat. It's that easy. Any questions you guys have, that's what I do. At the very end, usually in the last 5 minutes, I do a giveaway. I have full courses on my platform, Analyst Builder, and I give them away for free. You don't have to pay for anything. It's just to give back. And, I really appreciate you guys being here, and so that's what it's for. So, with that being said, let me just check my audio one last time. Yeah, my audio sounds good. This thing is very sensitive, and so it might be a little peaky at times, but everyone said they couldn't hear it when it was farther away. And so I just keep it close. I might move it just a tiny bit like that. But everyone said it was too quiet before. All right, with that being said, let's not waste any time with me just talking on and on and on. I'm going to start looking through here. I'm going to start looking at the questions, and then I'll start answering them to the best of my ability. Is it possible to, this is from Discover Alcabulan, is it possible to get a remote job as a beginner? It is possible. It is very difficult. I'm sure you've been following, the job market, and it's very difficult to get just a job in general right now, just due to economic conditions. Right? Companies are struggling. Remote jobs are even more difficult because you're competing against all the other people in the world who want remote jobs. And remote jobs are great. I work remotely myself. I worked remote, back since, I guess 2020. So for many years, remote jobs are great, but that's why a lot of people want them because you get to stay at home. Because of that, you're going to be competing against 1,000, 2,000 people for a remote position. Whereas if you go for like a local company, let's say I was trying to get a job here in, I live in Charleston, South Carolina, I'm trying to get a job, then I'd be competing maybe against 50, 100 people, which is significantly better chances to get a job. So remote is going to be very difficult in this time as a beginner. I think people with more experience are going to have a lot easier time working remotely. All right, let's keep going. This is from Mustafa Aman. Hello, sir. I have a question regarding my portfolio. Should I primarily use GitHub to show my projects and descriptions, or would it be better to create a personal website or use Notion instead? That is a great question. Let me take a sip of water real quick. So, every portfolio is different. I've seen it done 100 different ways. I myself have multiple different ways that I've done portfolios in the past. When you're first starting out, I think GitHub is like the easiest way to showcase your projects, but it is hard to convey everything, right? Yes, you can use like a markdown file, but I think that the narrative approach and having your own website is better. So GitHub is like good for getting started, even storing your projects for your portfolio website. GitHub is still great and useful. But for your final portfolio to show off your projects, I do recommend a portfolio website. I have a whole YouTube video on how to do that for free. You can even use something called GitHub Pages, which is kind of offshoot, not an offshoot, it's a part of GitHub, but it's a different uh, tool within GitHub where you can create your own website. I have a whole video on that and how to do that for free. I think it's in my data analyst bootcamp. That's also free on YouTube. All right, let's see. But that's what I would do. I don't know about Notion. I haven't dived into using that as a portfolio myself, so I'm not sure. Mr. Gautam Kitchen, I don't know the answer to this. I just skimmed it, but I'm going to read it anyways in case other people have advice. It says, in India, why are there no jobs in data analyst from opening all ask experience? So how can we succeed in this field? So he's saying people are asking for like 3 years of experience for a beginner position in India. How do you succeed? Genuinely, I don't know much about the Indian job market. I live in the US, so it's very different, I am sure. But if anyone has any advice, put that down below because I would be interested to read that myself. Excuse me. VREP. Alex, how are you? I'm doing well, thank you. Got something in my throat. Can you suggest some books for data analyst engineering in a video maybe? I hate to say this, I don't really read data analyst or data engineering content. I'm not a reader. That's just not how I typically learn. I'm very much a visual person when it comes to like technical things. So I like videos and whatnot. So no, I don't have any advice for books. I'm sorry. But someone who does, I'm trying to think of what her name is. I can't remember. If I remember, I'll let you know. There's someone who does post about books quite a bit, but I don't. Let me see. Now listen, if you guys start, I hate to do this. I just answered a question. I'm going to put you in a timeout. If you're, this has a delay, by the way. This has a delay for about 30 seconds. If I don't see your question, please don't spam. I'll just block you. I don't know where my moderators are at. Usually they're on top of it, but my mods aren't here right now. So you just get me, and that's okay. Daniel Vasilev. Hey, Alex, can you share your thoughts on how a university student specialized in data science can improve and learn skills for future job seeking, and what advice can you give? So if you've been to school, you studied data science, business analytics, things on data modeling, I'm guessing base programming like Java or computer sciencey type things. The best way to improve your skills for future jobs is to build. Build. I focus a lot on projects. In every course I make, every tutorial I make, well, not every tutorial, but every like series of tutorials, I focus on projects. Purely because that is what the real world is like. You're building things, you're taking data, you're transforming it, you're building. And so if you haven't built projects yet, take some guided projects and then build your own and then think of creative things and figure it out. Because almost anything is possible. I'm not going to say that, but most things are possible within reason. And if you just push yourself to build it, you're going to learn a ton. Badam Amarender Reddy. Is it correct to learn data analytics in 2025, 2026? I think that tech in general, just as a whole, is going to be very, very good to know in the future job market. I know there's a lot of people that say the opposite. They say that, because of AI, it's going to be much less needed. I actually think we're going to see a big boom in tech hiring in the future once we kind of get past this economic turndown. How many years is that? I don't know. I have no clue. But the economic space right now is causing a lot of people to lose their jobs. It is, in my opinion, not really due to AI almost at all. But I think we're going to see a huge boom in tech. Again, I kind of compare this like the dot-com bubble, right? We have this huge influx of people creating all their own websites, hiring web developers and all these things back in 2000. And then the tech bubble burst. And a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of companies went under. A lot of people got fired. But the internet didn't go away. It came back stronger. And now, as you know, everybody uses it. And there's millions, hundreds of millions of jobs around technology and computers and the internet as a whole. I think it's going to be similar with AI. I think we're going through this big boom cycle. I think it's going to die out. Then we're going to have this big resurgence of hiring. And the tech field is going to balloon like it's never seen. That is my opinion. So I think learning just tech in general, data analyst skills, data skills, these are going to be highly useful in the future, and I really do recommend learning it. Talha CH, how much SQL do you need to know to be at a good level? I get asked this all the time, and it is very subjective. But in my opinion, I think you need, so I have a beginner, intermediate, and advanced series on YouTube, both in MySQL and in Microsoft SQL Server. I'll do a PostgreSQL because people like Postgres. My opinion is to learn beginner and intermediate. The advanced stuff can be a little bit tricky, especially as you get into window functions and CTEs, and you learn about indexing and you learn about stored procedures. That stuff you don't need to know right away. But knowing up until like aggregations, joins, the beginner and intermediate series are perfect. I would highly recommend learning that. And then trying out some exploratory data analysis, some data cleaning. In SQL, those things will get you to everything you need to know, at least to get started, right? Let's see. This is from, so some things I see, sometimes some answers I skip because I've answered them a lot in the past. So if I skip your question, I apologize. It's not personal. But this says, Obi Sessen Iwalufa. I said that poorly, but I apologize. Currently taking your data analyst portfolio project course at the moment until I got your live notification. Currently loving it. Thanks a lot. That's awesome. So if you guys don't know, if you guys are new and you're just learning about data analytics, I have a free data analyst bootcamp. It takes you through a ton of stuff. Sorry, I got to put this person in a timeout. No spamming. No spamming. But the data analyst bootcamp covers SQL, Python, Excel, Tableau, Power BI, cloud platforms, and it's all free. It's pretty awesome. I highly recommend looking at it. I answered that question. Let's see. Let me go on down. Karan Gupta. Hi, Alex. I've been applying for data analyst roles. Still haven't landed one. What should I do? So in the application process, there's a few areas that you need to have check marks. The first one, and probably the most important one in my opinion, is, are you actually getting interviews? If not, if you're getting no interviews, that means two things. One, either your resume is not good for the ATS systems that automatically check your resume. Or two, you're not applying to the right places. You're not applying correctly. And applying correctly is a skill to learn. So most people, they just go on LinkedIn, or they go on, Indeed.com, or they go on Monster.com, and they apply, Monsters.com, I can't remember. And they just apply to jobs, and they just wait to hear back. And they apply to 100, 500, 1,000, 2,000 jobs. They don't hear anything back, but they aren't getting the hint of something is wrong. They just keep sending it out there. And so you kind of need to go back and evaluate where you're at. Are you getting interviews? If yes, then I'll go on to the next part. But if no, then you need to see, are you applying correctly, which is reaching out to recruiters, talking to people, making connections, applying to jobs, and then messaging someone at the company in HR or in their hiring team or a recruiter. I have several videos on how to do that very specifically, how to reach out to people, how to land jobs. That is definitely a skill and is very difficult. If you are landing interviews, then that is a great thing. That is validating that you're working some process correctly and you're doing something right. If you're failing the interviews, then it could be many things. One, it could just be an experience issue. You don't have the experience that these companies are looking for. Maybe you're applying in healthcare fields and you have a background in finance, right? I don't know, but maybe it's just not a right fit. Or maybe you're not interviewing well, so you're not answering the questions properly, or you could be failing the technical interviews. These are all things that could be happening, and it's hard to just tell you what it could be, but you kind of need to do some self-reflection, figure out what part of the process is failing, and then improve in those areas. All right, let me see. SNK, hi Alex, I've subscribed your Alex the Analyst website. and really appreciate the work. I am working on the courses. Just curious, would your projects help me land entry-level job? I'm based in the UK. Yes. So the projects on Analyst Builder that I built at the end of all the courses are modeled after real-world things that I've worked on, or very, very realistic. I highly recommend putting them on your resume. Some of the ones, just to be more specific, some of the ones, one of the ones I did for Power BI, it was an IT dashboard, is literally a real dashboard that I used to make and build with my team when I was a manager in IT, a data analyst manager in IT. It is literally the same thing. So that is like about as real world as it gets in terms of getting the data in, transforming it, creating certain, not KPIs and metrics, DAX calculations and using DAX. Like that one is 100% a real one that I've built in real life. Other ones as well. And so ones like in the Pandas course and then the MySQL course, those are very realistic. I 100% would recommend you do that. All right, let me scroll down. This is a good one. Fadoon, this is a tough one, but I'm gonna do my best. Tolo one is Segan. Hi, Alex. I want to ask if there's a particular number of projects to build before applying to jobs. Also, I find it hard to select a data set for practice. Is there any advice you could help with? So first question is, how many projects? I recommend at a minimum to have 3. They don't have to be the best projects in the world. They may be the first guided projects you made, but then you replace them over time. And then I would say get up to about 5. I think 5 is a good number. Maybe 6 if you just want to be even, have an even number of projects if you're doing rows of 2. But 5 is a good number. You can, revise them as you go. And as you get into a specific field, let's just say healthcare, for example, then you can build projects specific to healthcare. So when you're applying to more healthcare jobs in the future, because now you have experience in that area, then they see that your projects and your experience and everything is healthcare, and they're like, okay, this person knows healthcare, right? The next question was choosing data sets. Choosing data sets is really hard. I have a full video on how to choose good data sets. And I do recommend looking at that video, and I show you where to choose data sets. But knowing how to select a good data set comes with a lot of experience. I've just looked at thousands of data sets over my career and just building projects. And it is a somewhat of a skill to be able to look at a data set and know how it's going to be transformed afterwards. So I can look at a data set and I can say, okay, if I pivoted this data and I aggregated on this, and then I did this, in my head, I already know what I can do with it 10 steps down the line. But that takes, some skill and then some domain knowledge as well. I know certain fields of data really well, and I can look at it and be like, okay, that data is really useful. This data is junk. But if I just download this CSV, got rid of this data, this would be a good data set. Again, it comes with time. It's hard to really quantify and to be like, here's what you need to look for. Just practice with different data sets. Go through my guided projects. I walk through the data sets and what to look for and what date fields you might want for this type of analysis, or it just comes with time, I think. Which field should we choose? This is Banav Chandelier. I apologize if I don't say that correctly, but good question. What field should we choose in data analytics? Everybody has their own preference. I was previously in healthcare before I ever got into healthcare analytics, but that background really helped me. So if you have experience in some area and you're like, that's the most useless thing ever, I would never be able to use that, take a look at it again, because it is very possible that there will be companies out there that value that previous experience, and that will help you transition. Now, if you don't like that industry at all, you're like, oh, I hate that industry, I would never want to work in that industry, excuse me, then you need to look and you need to see, okay, what do I like? Do I like finance? Do I like banking? Do I like agriculture? Do I like healthcare? What do I like? And what am I passionate about? Something that I can do for a long time. Lord Essendo, I have learned Excel fully. Can I land a data analyst job with it? Currently on Python. I haven't learned Excel fully. Excel is not something you can, not trying to nitpick. I'm just saying Excel is like a endless pit of learning. I still learn things in Excel, and I've been using it for like 10 years. So I'm sure I hope you know a lot of the basics, pivot tables, creating visualizations, charts, data cleaning, that kind of stuff. I think if that's what you mean, then that's great. And you're learning Python next. I would learn SQL. So data analyst jobs have transformed over the years. Many, many years ago, let's say 20 years ago, if you knew Excel, I mean, you're rocking and rolling because most companies were just using Excel. Then SQL became really important, especially as people started collecting a lot more data. And that was all you needed. And I got in 2017 when it was really just SQL, Excel, and a BI tool. And I still think that is the best place to start. But the data landscape and hiring has changed over time. There are still, I would say, 50% of jobs in the data analyst market. And I'm speaking specifically for the US because that's the market I know the best. But you can kind of extrapolate that to where you live. 50% of the jobs still only require a BI tool, SQL, and Excel. The other 50 require new things, right? So before SQL, Excel, let's say Tableau. But in a lot of these new companies, they're using things like Databricks. They're using things like Azure. They're using AWS. They're using some random third-party software you've never heard of, and that's okay. And then of course, AI skills to be able to just know AI. So that's the new era that we're going to be going into. And so I have been recommending people to really learn a cloud platform. I think that's becoming more needed. I started saying that back in maybe 2023 that I think, learning Azure and AWS is a big plus. In today's market, I say it's almost necessary. And so I recommend learning that a lot. But don't start applying once you know all those things. Apply along the way. As you have more skills and you build out your resume more and you build out your portfolio more, be applying because you never know what you're going to hit. Don't wait for a year to start applying. Apply now, but advance your skills and add to your resume as you go. Coyote Alumide. Hey, Alex, where can we publish our projects to get noticed? You can't really get noticed by just publishing a project unless your project's super good. So if you post on like a personal website or you post on GitHub, it's not going to just get noticed. Usually when you're applying for jobs, if you get past the ATS systems and a recruiter actually looks at it, sometimes they'll look at your projects, but usually it's like the hiring manager. Once you get to like a hiring manager, it gets in their hands, that's when people will take a look at your project. You can also share your projects online on like LinkedIn, X, Instagram, wherever you want to share it. TikTok, I don't know. All right, this is a great question. Junaid M. Is your data analyst bootcamp still valid or outdated? I'm currently doing that, but just a random question on my mind as you uploaded it 3 years ago. Believe it or not, yes, and I'm adding to it. I'm gonna add my R series, and I'm gonna add my Git and GitHub series, which we're currently in right now. So I'm gonna make it even longer bootcamp. That is still extremely valid, and in fact, that bootcamp, most people like prior to when I did that were charging a lot of money for that kind of content, and so it's 100% free. And I 100% recommend it because every single one of those things are still 100% relevant. Everything. There's nothing in there that I'd be like, oh, don't learn that. You don't need it. If you go through that and you genuinely learn all of those things, I mean, your jobs will open up. The jobs that you can apply for will open up dramatically. And you'll know a lot more about data. Still 100% relevant. I don't think there's anything in there that I don't think is relevant still. And I'm adding to it. So there'll be more in the future. All right, let me read this question while I'm taking a sip of water. Thera's Youth. I don't fully understand this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I have a question about Excel project. What proper project as a beginner should take? Recently, I've been doing some project from the community. When should I change into the big project? I don't really know. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but I'm going to kind of read into it a little bit. I guess when you go from like a small project with a small data set to a really big project with a big data set, or with maybe more real life data. I think once you build a few smaller projects and you get comfortable and you're like, this is boring, I want to work with harder stuff, that's when you do it. Because usually data from like Kaggle or small data that you find here or there is a lot easier to work with because there's only a couple hundred, maybe even 1,000 rows of data. There's only 7 or 8 columns, pretty simple data. But let's take a look at like real world data. You go into data.gov. I get a lot of my data from there for some projects because it's very realistic. It's 500,000 rows, 20 columns wide, issues with all the data. I mean, the government data is rife with mistakes. I mean, let's just be honest. And I go there for a lot of data cleaning practice when I teach people because it is very real world like. Because when you get into a real job and you start working with data, you realize how many mistakes and issues are wrong with the data. And so that's when once you start getting comfortable with the easy stuff, move on to the bigger projects with the more intense data. Nicholas Butler, I'm not great with maths, but I really want to go into the world of data analytics. Will my poor math skill background stop me? Love your course, by the way. I finished Excel and now doing the SQL course. That's awesome. So math is like, there's a big spectrum in data analytics. I think probably 75 to 80% of data analyst jobs focus on pretty simple math. And what I mean by that is like averages, mean, median, mode, knowing how to just create basic PEMDAS math, right? Divide, add, subtract, and get that math done correctly. That's like 80%. And it really is. And I've worked in a lot of different areas. I've, done a lot of different things, and there haven't been a ton of cases where it's gone crazy beyond that. Now, back when I worked on the data science team with a data scientist and we had a statistician on the team, we did go beyond that. We did a lot of regression, a lot of machine learning models that required some more heavy mathematics. And I got to work on some of that stuff, and that was really awesome. But that was a very small piece and kind of a niche thing for my career, at least. And so if you're struggling, I would say if you struggle at basic math, then it's going to be really tough because you do have to be very accurate when you're doing calculations and whatnot. And then you have to go and validate that and then check it against other data sets. And that can be tough. And so if you just like don't like math at all and you really struggle in math, data analytics is going to be tough. It's going to be not enjoyable. It's going to be tough. But if you enjoy math, but you maybe aren't the best mathematician in the world, then that's okay. If you still like it and you have a passion for it and you can do it, then you'll learn a lot and you'll be able to do it, I think. All right, so this is a Pratik Kafel. Hello, sir. Recently completed my data analyst course from my local institute. And when I watch your portfolio projects in YouTube, some code I find a little difficult / different from what I learned. So I have a few thoughts on this. One is it is very possible that the stuff that I cover is just going to be different than what you cover in a university or your local institute or whatever you're learning. And the reason for this may be, one, is they have a different focus for what they're teaching. It could be completely different. A lot of what I teach is very not generalized, but you can apply what I teach to almost any industry. So the data cleaning stuff that I show, it can be applied to anywhere. But when you get into a specific company, they may have it different. It may be a different thing, but I've taught you the basics of how to think about data cleaning. I'm teaching fundamentals. Although I do go way past fundamentals in some of my stuff, like some of my advanced stuff, it does go into more difficult things. But that may be the difference of it. The difficulty, it may be more difficult simply because of the data that you've worked with in the past. Maybe my stuff is just more advanced than the stuff that they covered because it was more of a basic course or a basic lesson. But I mean, it just depends. It just depends. But everything that I teach are things that I've seen and done in the real world, and I've been consulting now, and I've done work for a lot of companies. That's applicable to almost every company I've ever worked with. It really is. All right, let me go back. I accidentally skipped down. Taki Patrick, Dash Data Analyst. He's finally here. Thanks for joining. I had to put people on timeout myself earlier. It was a horrible experience. I never want to do it again. Don't leave me. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. Taya Miyu Obasanjo. Hi, Alex. Can ChatGPT generate data sets to be used for training models? I would not. I would not. So I've created a lot of data sets with ChatGPT for various use cases. And let me tell you, when you get past like a certain amount of data, it's literally like the most repeated data you've ever seen, and you can prompt it day and night, and it's not going to be good data. ChatGPT isn't good at creating good data sets. They're always very generic. They repeat themselves a ton. I would not use it for training anything that you would be doing in the real world. You can create very, very, very simple data sets for like basic querying of data and stuff, but I would never use it for anything beyond that. It's not very good. All right, let me see. Eniola Adiemi. I just finished a project cleaning up messy data by converting codes like 0 and 1 to male and female and removing duplicates. Is this a good starting point to get hired for data cleaning gigs? It's very tough to say just from that. But here's what I will say. Typically, it's the other way around from my experience. When I'm cleaning data, and it's, let's say it's millions of rows, and every data set's different. Let's say it's like 10 million rows. I've worked with data sets that are billions of rows. Let's say it's billions of rows. You want to optimize your data set. And that's really important for data storage as well as data processing and data transformation and everything. So typically you want to take string text and convert it into numeric text and then have some type of reference file or sheet that you can then join to that data later on if you need it. Because that stores the data in a much more compressed format. I would just say you need some experience. Maybe that was the right thing to do in that data set. I don't know. But just from my experience, it's usually the other way around. But if you, again, it's very nuanced. But is it a good starting point? Absolutely. If you're already practicing cleaning data and messing around with cleaning data, absolutely, it's great. For getting data cleaning gigs, I don't know. I've never done like freelance type work for data cleaning. But it wouldn't hurt to get started in that. But also, practice a lot of the data cleaning. There's so much to data cleaning. It's actually a really complicated process. Data cleaning itself is actually kind of like a partial step within the transformation. A lot of people think that data cleaning is actually, the transform and ETL process is just data cleaning, and it's not. It's actually a small part because you do a lot of the data cleaning, and then you have to look forward. What am I doing with this data? And then you have to transform it, which means you may be pivoting data, aggregating data, taking data out, like completely just removing data. You may have to join data to other stuff, and that's the transformation piece. So with all that being said, I'm kind of going on a tangent. It's a great place to start. I think that absolutely is. But just keep working on it. And then when you feel comfortable, I say go for it and see if you can get some work. And if you can, then that's how you learn even more. All right, let me go down. I've answered some of these questions. Let me see what time it is. 9:30. We're doing great on time. It's only 9:30. This is fantastic. Let me see. This says, this is from, I was, sorry, got focused on the wrong one. This is from Clinton. I'm Clinton from Nigeria. Please, are free data sets enough to build a portfolio, or do recruiters expect real world data? You can get real world data for free. So you don't even have to worry about that. I have a whole video on where to find the best data sets. And those are data sets that are like super real. They are the most real data sets because they come from real places that they give their data out for free. So go look into that. In which real life scenario, this is from Mubarak Kabir. Hi Alex, in which real life scenario we have to fill NA with an average of that specific column? Let me think. I haven't done a lot of, a lot of when I fill data, historically, has been to be able to identify that data as null and to depending on what I'm using the data for down the line, filling that data in with, you know, populating it in some way so it doesn't show as blank and isn't counted. That's historically what I do a lot of fill NA for. Now, for doing something like the average, the median, or filling it and populating that data, I haven't done a lot of that. Let me, here, I'm going to ask this question. You know, you're asking me. I honestly just haven't done a ton of that. I'm going to ask this question to ChatGPT real quick. And just see what it comes up with, because maybe it'll trigger my memory or something. Yeah, this isn't going to be super helpful. This ChatGPT is giving me very generic things that can be applied to literally anything, and that's not helpful. Yeah, I mean, it would need to be a pretty specific use case where you're wanting to count rows as being there and being used. You maybe didn't collect the data properly, and you need to fill that data to be able to, you know, use that row of data, and you don't want to get rid of it or drop it. So there are use cases, but in my experience, I don't do a ton of that. I really don't. I haven't done a ton of that. Can you suggest courses next to your amazing bootcamp? This is from Omar El Shahat. So I've built courses myself. Analystbuilder.com, it's down in the link below. That's my platform for learning. My courses there go a lot more in depth. They have more advanced projects and hands-on coding and learning questions as you go, and it's pretty awesome. But let's say you don't want to do that. You're like, nah, I've learned enough from you. I want to go to other places. I have whole videos on Coursera and Udemy Courses. And that was from many years ago. I haven't updated that in a long time because I haven't taken any more courses from them in a long time. But they're a good place to look. Coursera has some good content. Don't take their Google Data Analyst certificate. It's not very good if you've gone through my bootcamp. My bootcamp is much more advanced. And more in-depth and free. Let's see. I'm reading through questions. What is job really? This is a good question. Ian Ryua. Hi, Alex. How do you know if I'm ready to apply for jobs? What does job ready actually look like? This is such an important question for people getting started because I know for myself, I had absolutely no idea. And you don't really know until you get into it. And then you look back and you're like, oh man, I don't know how I got that first job. I didn't know anything because now you've learned so much more. So here's what I usually recommend. So I'm going to compare this to like my series on YouTube. I have like beginner series, intermediate series, advanced series in SQL and Python and all sorts of different stuff. If you can understand the beginner and intermediate stuff in SQL, you go through my Excel stuff and you're like, okay, I know this now, pivot tables and things like that, and you know a BI tool, that to me, those three things, if you can start with those three things, excuse me one sec, I gotta itch my nose. If you can get those three things, then I say you are actually ready to start doing work as a data analyst. It's hard to get a job just with those skills though in today's market. But I said earlier, I don't know if you're here, but 50% of jobs only use SQL, Excel, and a BI tool. That's it. That's all they use. Some even just use SQL and Excel. Some just use Excel. That would be like maybe 10%, 15% just use Excel. And they are data analyst jobs. You're analyzing data. You're finding trends and patterns. It's just small data set, small company, small department within that company. I don't know. Give me one sec. My nose is super itchy. I apologize. That's when you know you're ready. So, sorry, I just saw myself itch my nose on the video and it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. But that's how you know. But you start with that, then you start applying. Then you get feedback on your resume from people. You start applying and recruiters are like, no, you don't know enough. Learn this. And you go and you add that. And so it's a cumulative thing. It's an additive thing. All right, let's keep going. My nose is super itchy. I mean, I think I have allergies right now. This is a great question, Clinton. Great question. There's a reason there's a purple #1 next to your name because this is a #1 question. How do I keep my skills updated without feeling overwhelmed by new tools? I get overwhelmed by new tools. There's so many out there, and everybody uses different stuff. You may have seen, so if you know SQL, Excel, and Tableau, you're doing great. But let me tell you just a few tools that are out there that are very popular that companies may want you to learn. Snowflake, Databricks, Alteryx, Azure, AWS, Fivetran. There's a ton, or Fortran or Fivetran, I can't remember the right name. These are all data tools that are really popular. I myself don't have experience in every single one of those, nor is that a realistic thing to believe that anyone can do. It's impossible to know every tool that's out there, and there's new tools being built that are becoming popular, and you just can't know them all. My recommendation is just to focus in your area and get really good at it. And that's what I did. And I think that benefited me a lot. Instead of spreading myself thin over all these different tools and feeling overwhelmed in the pressure to learn this tool and this tool and this tool and this tool, it's exhausting. It really is. It's just like, it's nauseating how many tools are out there. Find your niche. Get really good at the tools you know how to use. And once you have that, then pick up one tool that you know you'll be using soon. So if your company is going to be switching to Azure, that's your time to pick up Azure. But it's not your time to go learn AWS. It's not your time to go learn Databricks, Alteryx, all these other skills. It's too much. Learn one skill at a time, additive, over time. So it's not necessary, it's not even realistic to have all those skills in your tool belt or know them all. Just be, maybe just be aware of what it does. So that if somebody brings it up in an interview and you're like, oh yeah, Databricks. Yeah, I know what that does. It's similar to this that I've done. And they'll be like, oh yeah, okay, great. That's what I would recommend. Fifi Abin, digital skills trainer. Are the courses in Analyst Builder for a lifetime after purchasing? Yes, they are. So if you go and buy one of my courses, you get it for your whole life. Unless it's part of the subscription, which we have a low, I think genuinely one of the most affordable platforms out there to learn data analytics. It's $34. There's a code down below to get 35% off, which means it's going to be like $22 per month for as long as you have your subscription. Other platforms like Coursera, DataCamp, they're charging, $65, $50 per month. So mine is like a third of the cost and is an amazing platform to learn on. But if you just buy the course outright or you buy a bundle, you'll get it for life. You'll have it for life. Not a sales pitch. It genuinely is just, it makes me really mad looking back at how much money I wasted on certain things. Like I did Coursera for a while. And it was like $50 a month at the time, or maybe it was $45 a month at the time. And it was there were no discount codes. So I just paid it because I thought that's what I needed to do. But now I've created this whole YouTube channel, which is a free resource. And you can learn more for free on my channel than some of these paid platforms. It makes me mad. So then when I created Analyst Builder, because I wanted to be able to provide more of like a mentorship style course, I try to go a lot more in depth and do mentorship. I tried to get the price down as much as we could, and I don't plan on increasing it, even though all the other platforms out there are increasing. It gets me riled up. Don't get me started on it. I just really believe that, I try to make it as affordable as possible. And, if you can get 35% off, you can get 2 weeks free and then 35% off, I think. I can't remember. Down below, if you do it that way. So anyways, just a free plug, or I guess it's a free plug for myself. Let's see. This is literally the next question. Hey everyone, hi, Alex. I think you need to add a course on soft skills needed in data professional career. I will be doing that. That is actually near on my list. I'm recording my AI for data professionals course for Analyst Builder right now. And then I'm going to be doing a soft skills series on YouTube and a whole soft skills course. Yeah, I'm going to be doing that. Exactly what you're talking about. I will be doing that. Amir El Shahat, I remember you. How can we build an analytic brain? I think some people are born with it. I know people who literally that's just like their mind works that way. But there are some people who don't. I think of myself as somebody who actually didn't really have it, but then once I unlocked it, now that's all I see. So I think it's a learned skill, Because in my opinion, I wasn't always the way that I am now. And I think my wife could attest when we first got married, I wasn't as analytical as I am now. I don't know if she's still listening. She was on earlier. I think she just does that and like leaves. Because she said, hi everyone. And I said, hey, Christine. I think she left. Don't, if she didn't, she's got a comment in the chat to prove she's here. Anyways, I think I learned it over time. A lot of it came from hands-on experience in the workplace. Just getting in, working with real data, real people. And I learned from my mentors a lot. And I had a lot of mentors along my career. I've had 2 or 3 really good mentors that have poured into me and helped me learn a lot. And so I think it's hard on your own to do it, in my opinion. Some people are just born with it. But if you don't, find a mentor, reach out to people, ask someone who is in this industry, hey, would you be willing to, meet with me once a month? Maybe it's in person, if you can do it in person for coffee. I'd love to learn from you because I feel like, the stuff you post online is so great, or, flatter them. I don't know. I just want to learn from you. And some people are going to be willing to do that and mentor you. Are projects crucial to landing a job? No, projects are not crucial, but here's what I say. And this is I truly believe this. And this is, I don't know. I don't want to say it's a fact. This is as close to not being a fact as you can get. If you don't apply to a job, you have 0% chance of getting that job in today's market. Pretty much. If you have a resume and it's horrible, you have like a 0.05%. So I look at it as percentages. Here's 100%. Everything you add on to that gives you a better percentage chance of landing a job. This is how I look at it. And so if you just have skills, you have 1% chance of getting the job. If you have, some certifications, 1% chance of getting the job. It's the same. Certifications aren't useful. But if you have projects, if you have a portfolio website, if you have a brand online for, on LinkedIn, you've been posting and you have a good profile picture, you have a good LinkedIn, this all adds, it's cumulative of percentage of chance of landing a job. And so don't skip out on things that have been proven to be helpful. And courses and building projects and a portfolio website have been proven to be helpful. And so don't shortchange yourself and make it harder on yourself. Put in the extra work and build the projects. All right, this is a great question. Sola, if you don't like dealing with people that much, is a data analyst career still feasible? I'm going to take a sip of water before I answer that one. I get parched. I get so parched when I talk for an hour straight. All right, it is 9:45. We got about 10 more minutes. I will answer as many questions as I can, and then we'll go into the giveaway at the end. Disclaimer. In order to be able to redeem the code that I'm going to give that people will try to redeem, you have to have an Analyst Builder account. If you don't have an Analyst Builder account, go to analystbuilder.com. Just sign up. It's a free account. You don't have to pay anything. Okay? I'm giving away courses for free, but you have to have an account in order to get the course for free. All right, let me answer this question. If you don't like dealing with people, and when you say dealing with people, I would assume you mean like dealing with people that you deem dumb. And I'm going to say that politely. Because people are ridiculous. They say ridiculous things. They make ridiculous assumptions. That just happens. If you aren't good with dealing with people, the tech world is probably not a great place for you, just in general. Because you're going to deal with a lot of nonsense. And people skills are very important. Now, that is what I'm saying up front. Here's my caveat to this. I myself, I think I'm an outgoing person, but I've always been very introverted, and I can only do so much socialization. My wife can back me up on this 100%. She was shocked when she learned this about me when we were first dating. But she saw it firsthand and told me, and then I guess I learned more. But I could not handle social interaction for that long, maybe like 2 hours. So when I got my first data analyst job, I went in person. I worked for 2 or 3 hours in meetings, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm about to lose my mind. I need to go home. Like, this is exhausting. I was exhausted after like 2 or 3 hours. I built up over time a resilience to this, and it got better. And so What I would say is if you just don't like people or working with people, this is not a good field. That much. Like if it's extreme, like don't do it. This is gonna be horrible. MSV, I don't know. You missed my question or don't want to answer. It's okay. Yeah, I don't answer everyone's questions. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not good questions, and sometimes I accidentally skip them. So, yeah, I don't know what to say to you. We have a Khalid Raigat. We have a problem with tools and data analysis. There's too many. Which ones do you recommend? The ones in my data analyst bootcamp, 100% recommend every single one of those, including Azure and AWS, including Python, including pandas. Then there's so many tools out there. I mean, I'm only one person. I create all the videos on my channel. I can't cover them all. I'll be doing a Databricks series, actually. I'll also be doing an Alteryx series eventually. I am trying to cover them all eventually, but I can't cover them all. It's been 5 years. I've been doing this for a long time, and I can't cover every tool, nor should I be expected to know every tool. Now, I've used both Alteryx, I've used Snowflake, I've used Databricks, I've used a lot of these tools that I mentioned earlier, but I wouldn't say I'm an expert in all of them. So I need to go in and I need to study and I need to investigate the tools, see the differences, see the nuances, and then teach. And so I still have a lot of learning to do, but those are the ones I recommend. Go look at my Data Analyst Bootcamp. It's MySQL, Excel, Power BI, Tableau, Python, Pandas, AWS, Azure, R, Git, and GitHub. Those are all going to be in the Data Analyst Bootcamp that I'm going to be releasing in maybe it's like a month. I have a new Data Analyst Bootcamp coming. That's like a revised version with more stuff in it, believe it or not. Oh, it's going to be so much good content. I sometimes get mad that I started my career in 2017 because none of this stuff was available for me. And over the past 5 years, I built it out so that you guys can have this, what I didn't have. I give you something I could never have myself. I kid. I'm just messing around. There's some quote there. I can't remember it, but it's really funny. It's I give you something I wish I never could possess myself. It's some quote. I don't know. Let's see. How do you Clinton? Another great Clinton is firing off on all cylinders with his questions today. How do you recommend organizing a portfolio project so it looks professional? Great question. Portfolio projects can look horrible or they can look good. My recommendation is using some type of template because you are not a web dev. You're not a web developer. You're not a UI UX engineer out here. All right, let's just keep it simple, but keep it professional. You need to have a contact section where they can find you, find your LinkedIn profile, reach out to your email, whatever it is. Then you have your projects underneath, maybe a little summary about who you are, a picture of you. That's it. Keep it simple. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. I live by that. Dwight Schrute. Hurts me every time. Do I need to learn both Power BI and Tableau? No, you don't. In fact, I started with Tableau and then I learned Power BI. There's like 85% crossover. And if you know the basics of building dashboards and visualizations, it's pretty applicable to every tool. I can get into any BI tool out there, any tool. You throw a tool at me that's BI for building, I'll be able to learn it very quickly because they're all similar, but they're all a little different flavor, right? It's just different ingredients to build the same thing. All right, let me see. We got 5 minutes, and then we'll be doing the giveaway. Is Kaggle worth it? NIFA freelancing. Kaggle's great. I've used Kaggle a ton over my learning career, if you want to call it a learning path or career or whatever. I've used Kaggle a ton. It's great for beginner data sets. I do recommend it. Okay, this is a good one. Actually, there's 2 questions from Daka Shashank and from Shivani Saria. Both these questions talk about getting into fintech or getting into like financial stuff. So how do you, the first one actually says from Daka, this says, I am from finance field. How do I navigate for financial analytics? The other one says, what would you recommend a fresher graduating try to make his mark in fintech and the product space as a data analytics professional? So basically choosing a niche, how do you break into a specific niche and break into maybe the analytics piece of it? What I would say is if you're already in an area, it's 10 times easier to go from this area into the analytics department. Then from going in from a totally different domain, it's 100 times easier, I promise you. And I actually have worked and mentored people one-on-one where I've helped them do this and they're like, wow, that was way easier. And I'm like, yeah, it's way easier. So if you're already in finance and you want to get into analytics, start finding ways to do analytic stuff in your current role. I don't know what you do. I'm just saying there's data everywhere, and you can find ways to optimize things, to automate things, to build things with what you currently do. There's got to be something. If not, start building projects with stuff you currently work with in your free time, and then apply to jobs internally. It is 10 times easier, I promise you. Now, in order to make your mark, which is kind of the second question, it kind of all intertwines. If you're trying to make your mark in a certain area, if you're trying to break into an area and you're new from college or whatever it is, building projects that kind of go towards that area, highly recommend. But also, you're just getting started. So in order to really get into something, you have to really work hard. That's creating connections, going to events. Let's say you live in, I'm just going to say like Silicon Valley. If you stay at home and you do what everyone else does around the world, and you don't go to events, you don't go and reach out to people, you don't go talk to people, you have no advantage over anyone else for any other job. The advantages that you get when you go and you put in the extra effort of making connections, even online, right? Just reaching out to people online. I have people reach out to me every single day, and I respond to almost all of them. And, you know, those are the people that are putting forth effort. And I tell them, I'm like, hey, really appreciate you, reaching out. Here's my advice. If you're trying to get into this area, reach out to someone in that domain. Talk to someone in that area. Talk to someone at a company you want to work at. Try to get their advice. Try to help get them to mentor you. Ask them for a referral. And this is not just one person. I mean, you need to reach out to 10, 20, 30 people. It's tough. It just is. And so, that's what I recommend. That's how you make your mark. That's how you get into specific domains, specific areas. Mohammed Ibrahim, do you think after I finish the Google certificate, should I start at Microsoft course that using AI with data analysis, or just focus on projects? Okay. I don't really recommend the Google certificate course. It's very beginner. It teaches if you don't know anything about data at all, it's an okay place to start, but that does not make you job ready in the slightest. Go through my Google Data Analyst Bootcamp. Go through my Data Analyst Bootcamp on YouTube. It is 10 times better and it's free. The Microsoft course with using AI, I haven't done myself, so I don't know. But look at the reviews, look at what people think. That might be useful. But I just don't. The Data Analyst Bootcamp is free. It's free. And it's amazing. I wish I had it when I was starting. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but it's taken me 5 years to build. And I really think it's one of the best free content in the world for data analytics. So don't pay until you've done that. Do that first. Let me see. All right, guys. 9:55 is my last question. Cement006 said, what programming languages have you worked with before becoming a data analyst? I knew 0 programming languages. I didn't even know a programming language before I got my first job at the nonprofit. I did not know a programming language when I got my second job as a healthcare data analyst at a small company. I only started learning it when I taught myself. I taught myself Python. And then in my third job, they used R in our data science team, and I learned R. That's it. I hope that was helpful. All right, guys, we're going to be doing the giveaway. The giveaway is on so go to analystbuilder.com. You can also click on a link down below and get 2 weeks for free of analystbuilder.com. And then just, if you don't like it or you don't want to use it, just cancel your subscription. That's it. It's super easy. So you have to create an account. Sign in with Gmail. You just have to sign in. Go to pricing. I'm doing this right now with you. Go to pricing. Go to courses. And you are going to select the course you want to buy. You don't have to buy it. I don't want anyone to buy anything. I promise you, I'm not motivated right now to sell you anything. I just want to give away a course. Find the course that you like. Could be Python, R, MySQL, Power BI, Git and GitHub. Let's say it was the Cloud Computing Essentials for Azure and AWS. So you click buy, you're not paying for it. It goes to a checkout page. There's an ad promotion code. I'm about to give you several codes. The first person to redeem that code and then buy it when it goes to 0 gets that's who redeems it. If you get an error, that means you didn't get it. Someone else got it first. That's just how it works. It's the easiest way for me to do this, I assure you. Once that total goes to 0, you click pay, you pay 0, and you get the course. And you'll know you got it if you go to your purchases tab and it shows the course there. All right, enough talking. Well, not enough talking. I need to actually give you the thing. Let me go over here. I need to go and create the code. I stopped creating the codes before because people were guessing them because they know me too well. They can like read my mind. It was insane. It was insane. People were guessing things I never thought they'd guess. And I'm like, how are you guys doing this? I genuinely don't know. All right, here it comes. If you don't get it, don't complain that you didn't get it because I know you didn't. I get it. That's what happens. Only one person is going to get this one. All right, this code, only one person will be able to redeem. You have to type it out, click apply, the price will go to 0, and you pay for it. All right, this one is, oh, someone's got to have some good spelling for this one, or maybe I have to have good. Let me make sure I spelled this right. All right, the code is portfolio. We talked a lot about portfolios and projects in this live stream, a lot. The code is portfolio, all caps, portfolio. Go get your course for free. I hope you win it. If you win it and you see it in your purchases tab, let me know what course you got because I'm always interested. A lot of people like the MySQL for Data Analytics course. A lot of people like the Cloud Platforms course. Those are usually the ones that people choose in these live streams. I don't know why. All right, I'm going to start making my next one. What's my next code going to be? It's so difficult to decide. I bet someone's already thinking of it. Actually, I said it earlier. So if you and 2 people are going to get this one, because I'm going to give out 5 total. If someone heard what I said earlier and guesses this, they'll get it first. I said we talked a lot about portfolios and a lot about one other thing. That one other thing is in the singular term is what it is. It's project. I didn't write projects, just like I didn't write portfolios. I wrote project. The code is project. 2 people can redeem this. I saw portfolio was already snagged, so that one's gone. We have one more code. 2 people will be able to get this one. And I'm going to say, let me see if this works. Oh, no, code already exists. I'm doing it backward. The code is camp boot. Not boot camp, camp boot. That is the code. The code is that because we talked a lot about the Data Analyst Bootcamp. I don't like people paying for things they don't need to, and I don't like people overpaying when they do pay for things. That really rubs me the wrong way. And so take my Data Analyst Bootcamp if you haven't. It's amazing. It's free. Highly recommend it. And it's better than most of the paid stuff anyways. I hope that you got it. If you got it, let me know. Yes, Camino, if you take a full course through in those 2 weeks, you'll get the certificate for free. There's no, it's like you own the subscription fully for those 2 weeks. I've had people tell me they took 2 courses during those 2 weeks. And then they were like, whoa, I love these courses. I want to keep taking it. And then they keep going. I want people to do that. I'm happy. I like when people try out the platform and love it. That makes me happy. So go for it. Take them. It's great. All right, guys. That is the end of the live stream. Thank you guys for joining. I hope you guys won the code and you were able to get the course that you wanted. If not, get the 2 weeks down below for free. You can still get a course for free. Or if you want to purchase something, I have a 35% off discount code in the description. And so I hope that that was helpful. I hope that was helpful. Someone said it reduced it by 15. That doesn't look right. Let me check. No, it's 100% off. So if you didn't get it, then you might be typing in something else. Yeah, because everything was redeemed. Every course was got. So people got them. They got them for free. Great work, great work. All right, you guys are tricking me. Somebody's tricking me out there. I feel like I'm getting tricked. I don't know. Hey, listen, if you didn't win and you want to win, I do this at the end of every live stream. Every Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's the time zone I'm in. Join and you have a chance of winning every single time. And if not, just get the free redemption down below and you can get a course for free anyways. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you guys for coming. I will see you guys in the next one. This has been a good one. This was a good live stream. I enjoyed it. Take it easy, guys. All right. Bye.